Welcome back to MovementProfessional.com. So today I want to discuss cleaning up some of the soft tissue around the knee. This is particularly helpful for people that have patellofemoral syndrome, pain in the front of the knee, pain in the outside of the knee. But just in general, it keeps your knees moving in a very balanced way, and it's also a great assessment to see where your body's taking most of the stress. So wherever you have your trigger points, it's just a sign that you have some shortened tissue in that area, which likely means that there's a little bit of an imbalance in the way that you're moving. All right, so the first area to look at would be the front of the thigh, which goes from up in the hip, that crosses the hip, and then crosses the knee, and attaches to this little bone here called the tibial tuberosity. All right, and it goes over top of your kneecap. So if it gets tight, it literally compresses the kneecap into the joint, or the kneecap into the femur behind it. Okay, so I'm just going to use a ball. There's a lot of different ways to do this. You can use rollers, but just with one tool, we're just going to use this yoga tune-up ball. You just get on your stomach. I'll show you on the left side here, and just roll around for about 15 seconds until you find the most tender area. And we're talking about the knee, but it does not have to be right next to the knee. It can be up in the middle of the thigh, it can be up a bit higher, and you just want to seek out where you have the most tension. Once you find it, let your body get heavy right onto the ball. All right? So typically you want to set a timer for about 2 minutes at least to give yourself time to explore, and also give your nervous system enough time to relax into the pressure. All right, when you find an area that's tender, you're just hanging out there, let your body get heavy into it, and then you can add some sensitizing maneuvers like knee flexion, which will lengthen the front of the thigh, and then knee extension, which will shorten it. Okay? If you contract the muscle of the front of the thigh, you can create what's called a contract-relax maneuver, which is a P&F maneuver, to allow for, after you contract, the thigh will relax a little bit and you'll be able to get a little deeper pressure into that. All right, and then just the motion back and forth creates activation of the hamstring when I bend the knee, and activation of the quadricep when I straighten it, which work on neurological principles for facilitation and inhibition to get more relaxation on the spot. All right, so about 10 to 20 kicks. It depends on how pinpoint the spot is, and then you can move on and see if you can find some other areas. So don't be overly specific on what you're trying to find. Don't have really a goal in mind like, oh, I want to work this area, but just explore until you find what your body tells you is the area you need to work on. Okay, you can also do a little bit of hip rotation in and out, which creates a transverse massage over the ball. All right, so that would be just explore the whole front, about 2 minutes there. And then what usually gets very tender is the outside, the lateral part of the thigh. All right, so you're going to take the ball, and the same idea, you can stack this leg on top, use this hand to plot a point that's tender. All right, and we're not really looking at, you have a structure on the outside of your thigh called your iliotibial band, your IT band. You're not really looking at that area specifically. That may be involved, but a lot of times it's going to be where the muscle, the quadricep, or the hamstring mesh into that fascia. And you have a lot more ability to create change on a muscle than you do on a fascia. But the goal is just to find the tender spot, hang out there, allow your body to get heavy into the ball, and you can do the same thing with the sensitizing maneuvers. Kick out, and then bend. Kick out. All right, if you create enough pressure on the spot, it'll actually make it hard for you to fully extend your leg. So you don't have to force it right away. If you're doing 10 reps, by the 10th, you get a little farther than you were at your first. All right, and plot the point. You go all the way from the hip down to the knee, seeking out the most tender spots, spending about 10 to 20 kicks on each spot, exploring for a total of 2 minutes. All right, then looking at the inside, again, this is still likely going to be part of your quadricep. You also have your adductors, which make your leg come across the body on the inside here. But you're not really concerned about isolating any muscle, you're just concerned about finding the areas that are most tender. So one of the best ways to do this is just sandwich a ball between your two legs until you find an area that's the most tender. So
Mine's right next to the knee there, and then you can kick the top, or you can kick the bottom leg, just like we were doing with all the other ones. But you just really want to let your body settle. So the only area that there should be tenderness or stress happening is where the ball is. The rest of your body should be relaxing heavy into the mat or in the ground. All right, and then it's the same thing, about 2 minutes exploring. You can work all the way up to the inner groin. It won't work as well with this ball to go up as high. All right, but if you had a larger ball, you can work up higher. But down by the knee, this ball works just fine. Okay? And then the last area to look at is the back of the thigh or your hamstring. All right, and you can again start up high by the hip, right by your sit bone. That's where the hamstring attaches to. And you can explore some areas there. Lean your body into the pressure of the ball or over the thigh. All right, so if you're looking at where I'm putting them, you're right under the sit bone. That's where you're going to start, and then you can work anywhere down to the knee. So now the hamstring will split about, when you get closer to the knee, it splits to the outside, and then there's 2 tendons that go to the inside, and one actually wraps around to the front. All right, so just know that when you get a little bit lower, that you're probably going to have to bias the outside or the inside. Clinically, I see a lot of tension on the outside of the knee, where the biceps femoris tendon attaches to the fibular head, which is the outside bone of the lower leg, and you can get a lot of tenderness there, which can cause some outer knee pain, and also some instability and clicking. All right. So once you find a spot, kick up, toes towards you, and then you can press your heel into the box. If you have a chair and there's no box, you just bring your heel under the chair, up and down. You can mess around with the ankle a little bit. This also might have a benefit if you had some back issues, where you can actually do a little bit of what's called a slump stretch for the sciatic nerve, or which biases the sciatic nerve and stretches the whole spine going through. All right, you get an added benefit to that with the pressure in the back of the thigh. All right, so looking at the front of the thigh, outside of the thigh, inside of the thigh, back of the thigh, that's how you clean up your knee. Let me know if you have any questions. See you next time.